Today marks 1 year since I've been into flow art, not since I created this channel, and I will cover that in this video, but I just want to cover some of the things that have really inspired me on this journey, like where I got inspiration from, what led me to trying new types of props and circus arts. I just want to share that today. If you guys are also interested in only a specific prop or subject, then skip to that chapter. I'm going to leave chapters in the description and then you can jump to that point in the video. Alright, a while ago I saw a New Year's Eve fire performance which I thought was really cool, and the prop that stood out to me the most was hula hoops. Turns out I also have a friend who is also a performer and she does fire dancing. That's all I knew her for at that point, but she also did poetry. There's this coffee shop I would go to every month to share a story or something. You can also find some of this information on Commander Earth, which is my other channel, and I've been doing that for almost 5 years. Anyway, today is February 8th, yesterday the 7th, which marks 1 year since I started doing flow arts. I just remembered it from a bit ago at the time. Oh, that was really cool. I bet I could be that good at hula hooping. Then I bought this pack of 4 LED hula hoops just because I want to achieve a really cool visual effect, and I don't think I'd be very good at fire. I figured, LED is the next best thing. Let's just get these instead. And they were about 36 inches in diameter. I was excited to unbox them after school, and then I even brought them to the coffee shop later, put the batteries in, and I know I have tried hula hoops before, but this is the time when I actually start to get good at them. Like the first time I tried it, I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna be good at this, and what's the point? Who cares? This is such a stupid skill to learn. And then I realized, wow, this feels really cool. The more moves I got to learn, and by the end of the night, I had some pretty good tricks under my belt. And well, the thing is, with LED lights, I really stood out. It was snowy, by the way. The ground was covered in snow. And then out of nowhere, you know who showed up to the coffee shop? You guessed it, my idol, who I'm not sure if I should say the name of here, but anyway, she was excited to see it, and I stopped because I was nervous to perform in front of people. And she's like, what, I don't get to watch? And then later when I come inside, she's like, how did you get into hooping? I said, the fire dancing. You got me into it. And then I was like, it felt really cool. I'm kind of in this community now. And then I also mentioned, I think before I even purchased the hoops, that to another friend of mine's mom who works at my school, I think, oh, maybe your kid, who I'm just not gonna say names on here really, but I think your kid would love it if I got some of these. And I thought, yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. And she loved that idea. And then eventually, I don't know if it was in the same session or not, we were talking, but at some point I also mentioned I got into this, remember the fire dancing on New Year's Eve? And she was like, oh yeah, that's my friend. I'm not sure if I should say the name. And then was like, she has a hula hooping class at, well, there's this nearby circus place, you can take classes. They got a lot of cool stuff. And towards the end of the month, it was February 25th or something, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. That was my first time taking the class, and I loved it. It was really cool. Haven't done that much, and I thought, why haven't I gotten more into this more recently? And then I started taking the class, and I thought it was pretty cool. Also on Commander Earth, my other channel, I had a party where I celebrated getting 500 subscribers, which was also about a year ago. And on that day, we had the hula hoops and stuff, we had cake, I had friends over, and the lights on one of the hula hoops went out. I thought, uh-oh, this is not good. And then I thought, maybe this is just a defective set, and we sent them back and ordered another set. It was the same thing, by the way. Yeah, I got another set of those hula hoops, and then they lasted for a bit longer, but they went out pretty quickly. At the beginning of March, they were just, yeah, well, just one of them really, but that's all it took to tell me, these suck. These are just knockoffs. And then I even asked my instructor, idol, favorite performer, for feedback, like what are some actual good companies that make these products that I should order from. And then I learned about Mood Hoops, which they're a pretty good company. Best hula hoop company. One of my favorites that I've learned about. They got some pretty good stuff. Daytime hula hoops too. Fire props, poi, like a lot of flow art props. Like despite the name, they got a lot of really good stuff, related and unrelated. They even have clothing and stickers. And yeah, that was like, I think it was like March 12th last year that I made the purchase to make I made my first Mood Hoops purchase. Guys, sorry by the way. I'm sorry if my language is a bit off, or if I'm throwing you off, or I'm talking too fast. I'm sorry. Yeah, and then I made that first purchase, and then yeah, on the same night I was also on Spotify listening to, well, I put on DJ X, the AI DJ, and I thought, oh, there was like a section with electro swing or just recommended songs, and I'm like, oh, this music is really cool. And then I just remembered, oh, my school is planning a talent show on April 11th, and I'm sorry, I didn't post that on my channel. I might have if I have created Commander Flow Arts back then, but you'll probably never see it. Most likely, I'm sorry. But yeah, I remembered, oh, I could do LED hula hooping at the talent show. That would be sick. And I thought that was an amazing combo of events that night, because bought the new hula hoops. They had great visual effects, by the way, is what I would eventually learn. Combine that with the fact that I'm listening to, oh, this is some good music. Electro swing is also a genre I like in general. I don't know why, but I just thought it was pretty cool. And then I figured this would be a good song to do, actually. Then I started practicing that routine. Once the hula hoops arrived, and here, I'll just show you here. These are the ones that I got from Mood Hoops. I know. Let's see, this is one of them. Yeah, pretty cool. Kind of basic, good for beginners. It's also, again, 36 inches, which, yeah, that's a good size for beginners. Same with the thickness of the tubing, which it's like 3/4 of an inch. But yeah, these are Sunrise and Glitch. Or that's at least what Mood Hoops told me, because I feel like the Glitch one matches another one of their hoops effects better, and I thought, I think you lied to me. I don't think you sent me the same one. But either way, I like it. I don't mind. And yeah, when I received them, I was like, oh, these are really cool. And then I thought, yeah, I'm practicing this routine. And then I did it, yeah, even shared my love for flow arts with other friends. And then when the time came, I went to school and did that performance, and they loved it. It was probably different from any kind of hula hooping they've seen before. And yeah, that's what made it really good. Yeah, it was fun. And then from there, that was like when I made my debut as a flow artist, basically. Not only that, but well, also, yeah, this is mostly hula hoops. This is mostly dedicated to that. And then also at the same time, well, I did get I have been getting these balls with movable marbles in it. Kind of cool. And then eventually I thought, maybe I should get a set of these, well, from my teacher, who also sells things for not real money, tickets, by the way, for good behavior and focus throughout the day. When I got tickets and then bought some of these balls, I thought, maybe I could teach myself to juggle. And while those weren't the best balls for that, I will tell you more about that as I continued that journey as well. And at the time, I wasn't super sure that I would be into juggling. I mean, eventually I did get into it. And also, I did bring, well, it was actually a new set of balls, which I don't even think were that good, just because of the weight, and like they were really hollowed out, and I don't think meant for juggling, but I gave it a try. I brought those while I was waiting for my new hoops to arrive to the next poetry night at the coffee shop, when turns out, yeah, the same people who love flow arts and my idol showed up again and like tried the balls and actually did a pretty decent job of juggling them. And then eventually I figured, well, this was actually also in between the time. It was in between when I was waiting for my new hoops to arrive and Yeah, and the talent show, it was also like that all happened later, but I'm just telling you this is another path, juggling, which this is different. And my hoops arrived in late March, and as I already mentioned, the talent show was in early April. I was actually kind of surprised by how quickly I learned stuff and was able to practice my routine. In fact, in April for poetry night, I didn't even actually have anything that I felt like sharing for poetry. Like, I couldn't think of anything, but the guy who hosts it announced me next, even though I didn't sign up on the sign up sheet. And I'm like, I don't have anything. I didn't sign up. He's like, well, why don't we watch you do your hooping? I was like, maybe come outside for that. And they were finishing up the rest of the people in there who had their stories or poetry to share. And then I showed them the routine I was practicing for school outside, and they thought it was pretty cool. I was proud of myself, and then I realized these LED lights would be cool for a lot of stuff, and then I thought there was other things that, well, and there's also other flow art props that you can get LED lights on that I thought, oh, this would be pretty cool. Maybe I could work towards that. I'm mowing lawns. I can make money for that. And then eventually, yeah, I know, I just mentioned I performed at the talent show. It was a pretty cool event. And then, like, I'll break it down for you. I got to school about an hour-ish before, or 45 minutes before the event started, just to help some of my teachers set up for it. It was also a spaghetti dinner fundraiser, which we were making that just for people to come eat spaghetti and pay for low quality food. And just for some added entertainment, we had the talent show. And then, well, yeah, I got there, I set my hoops down, helped my culinary teacher to make some salad. And then a few minutes in, Ezra, who, I don't know, you're not going to know these names probably, but Ezra just picked up my hoops like they cost $5 when I'm not looking to catch some other students in them. And I'm like, Ezra, please be careful with those. And then my teacher like just brings to his attention, she's like, Ezra, those aren't yours. And like in my head, I was like, I would let you use them, but if you ask me first, and I would also want to supervise because they're expensive. They costed about $90 each. And then, well, later, yeah, I did the show. And then, yeah, I do not like going first, by the way. I don't know if that's worth pointing out or not, but I think I went like third in the talent show. It was epic. Not only that, but we also had this thing for part of the fundraiser for every $100 we make, that there would be a surprise for the audience there. Like we might do punishments to ourselves or get pranked. And let's see, when we reached $100, our ASB president volunteered to get pie in the face. At 200, them and also a friend of theirs, they when we reached 200, they would attempt to juggle, and that was actually pretty cool. I mean, what I think I learned is that they weren't that great at it, but honestly, I think they should just keep practicing. I think they've gotten a lot better with passing and stuff like that. Like they just went on the stage for a couple of minutes and then they tried passing clubs, which I thought was kind of cool, and it was also kind of funny to watch them fail. And then there was also some other stuff, like some of my friends showed off their talents, but I also at the same time was just getting into juggling. Like I've tried balls and I thought, maybe I'm just using the wrong kind of balls, and clubs look really cool. Like I'm not going to be good at that, but it's worth trying. I also send my teacher who sells me the stuff from Good Behavior. I send him a link to another product that I would recommend him getting. That was Spinball's poi, which they got some LED poi, and then I got those from my teacher. My teacher sold them to me for 500 tickets each, which I don't know. It has something to do with he tries to get the product from the company directly and not from Amazon. And either way, I thought, I'll just get both of them for 1,000 tickets. And really, it's easy to make a lot of, ticket money there. And it's like, you're going to buy them both? And in my head, I'm like, who uses just one? I know. He had a misconception. He learned from it, and that's okay. I've become a pretty good poi spinner. Yeah, like, see, these are Spinball's poi. We got LED lights. Pretty cool, huh? And I thought, I should start a whole LED collection now. And eventually I would want to start a club with my friends where we gather together maybe once a week to practice LED stuff and then maybe even do performances. which I thought would be a cool idea. It took a while to get that idea to be a success, and eventually we achieved it. Although I don't think it's fully there. I would say it's more of like we're learning from it. Anyway, that was Poi. Not much to talk about there, actually. I just keep doing it, and there's not much to learn about. I just keep watching tutorials on. Well, there is also Direct Factor Poi, a YouTube channel I would recommend. He makes a lot of Poi videos. I don't know. I think he might even work with spin balls, and he even did a review on the Pyroterra Lighttoys visual Poi, which is pretty cool. And speaking of which, Pyroterra Lighttoys, we'll get to that later. For now, we have a circus show coming up, which that was in June of last year, and I was in a hula hoop act for the circus show. We just had about 3 minutes on stage, and I thought, this is fun. Yeah, I know. I was a little bit nervous. It was another show that I did, and then I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm really good at this. I might also have to mention that my friend's mom was also into poi spinning, which she brought those to her kid's birthday, which I went to. It was fun. I even thought when I saw the poi that I dropped some out of my backpack, like, oops, I dropped these, but then I look at my backpack and I'm like, oh, they're still there. Oh, those are your poi. I thought I dropped something. But yeah, that was actually kind of funny. On that day, I even learned some new moves. I brought my hoops and tried to juggle. I don't think that went successful, but that was okay. I was learning. My flow journey was still beginning. I think at the same time, I was also purchasing the Pixel Hoop and the Future Hoop Designer by Mood Hoops. That costed about $500 with a discount code. And I thought, oh, these are sick. Those arrived in early May. I thought, these are some of the best visual effects I've seen. Time to get futuristic. Let's complete my LED collection, which, as you can see behind me, I got a whole shelf, which I also made the shelf in my careers class in high school. And I thought, maybe I could actually use this shelf for something. I put all my LED props on it, which, yeah, and I sent my teacher who helped me make it a picture, and she thought it was really cool. And actually, that picture was less recent than that, actually. Now, it felt weird that I had just a pair of those. Like, they weren't even the same hoop. I just thought, these don't even match. And I figured I want something that matches and is also very high detail. And the Future Hoop Designer was the one with the most detail at the time that I had. And then eventually I would get more, by the way. More on that later. But then at the same time, there was also, well, a parade that my circus class and just the circus place in general marches in every year, and they invited me to come to the parade. And well, most of them just brought their juggling gear, but I brought my hoops. I spun those, and it was fun. And I thought I got a lot of attention, and it was also really rainy that day. I'm like, wow, my hoops survived. They're pretty tough, actually, but I would not bring more expensive ones, even if it's by the same company. I brought my Sunrise and Glitch hoop by Mood Hoops for the parade, and it was pretty cool. It was fun. But yeah, I was exhausted that day. Later in the month, while I would practice, I would go to the circus place, and then I also had a show at the circus place with my team, my class, and then we did a hoop act, which it was pretty cool. It was ocean themed. We did it to Surfin' USA by the Beach Boys. Slowed down, by the way. It was fun. Not with LEDs, though. It was fun. We did 3 shows for the circus and then had a cast party afterwards. Brought my hoops to that. And then, yeah, it was really fun. The story of the show was also depressing. I don't even know how to describe it to you now, but yeah, it's a bit complicated. The weekend before the show, which was also, we were rehearsing that weekend, I got another package, this time from Amazon, and well, it was a number of things. It was some hair dye for a video you might have seen on Commander Earth, and then also a set of LED juggling clubs, which weren't that great. I mean, they were all right. They lasted about 2 months, before one of them stopped working, but since then I've gotten better ones, and I'll tell you when I did that when we get there. And also in the package I had, well, it was an LED fan, which I thought it was supposed to come with 2 of them, and I guess it really wasn't. It was also really not that great. something was really off with the battery life or just the charger or something in general. I'm not sure. But I thought maybe it was defective or maybe I let it sit in the sun for too long. Then I just sent it back and then got another one to make sure. And then sure enough, that one also had the same negative effect. I thought, this is going to be an investment, but I'm going to buy the Pixel fans from Mood Hoops, which with discount codes, they costed about $150. Here, see, here they are. I got those on, I think I purchased them on June 18th or something. Then they arrived on like June 26th. And I thought these are pretty cool, much higher quality. They're tough and they got a really nice lotus design here, or whatever you call that, I'm not sure. Also, at the end of the school year party, which I also went to, I brought my hoops, my poi, and my juggling clubs, which, I got some attention. Couldn't really motivate my friend's mom to do some poi spinning. She was just exhausted that day, and just in general. Also, I'm gonna have to call them out later for their sensitivity to things like loud music and flashing lights, just because you'll see what's coming up. I'll tell you when I get there. But yeah, there's more insane flow related stuff. It was also my friend's idea saying, oh, these would be really cool to use on like New Year's Eve or the 4th of July, which that's what we did. We packed these up, brought my LED collection, and then did some flow arts in the dark, which I have a video of that on Commander Earth, and I'll probably make another full video for when stuff like that happens, and I think I might just make a short version of that on here, Commander Flow Arts. Same idea, different channel. Then I kept doing flow arts, and also, I forgot to mention, back in April, I did hear from my school's newsletter that there was a program that I could take throughout the summer, and I did it actually. It was a $1,000 stipend. It was just a maritime program, which I learned how to do things like safety with boats, working in the boat shop. We went on the water a bunch of times, and I even shared my love for flow arts there. And one of my co-workers there was kind enough to go to a steam bending class, which they also had there, and make me a wooden hula hoop, which I thought was pretty cool. I know hula hoops aren't generally made out of wood, but this worked really well, and I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. And then there was also some other wooden rings there, which one of our instructors there was like, can you juggle? And then I gave it a try. I was pretty good that time. And I would also learn about, there's a juggle club that I've been going to that my idol and her partner also shared with me. Some weekend towards the end of July, or it was a Friday, where I went there and I thought, oh, this is fun. I want to come here every week. And then I got really good at stuff like, well, I tried some balls, and I haven't really got my hands on rings that much, which when I learn about that, it's very easy to juggle rings. And then I also tried clubs, which I thought, maybe I'm just better at these than the ones I got, because also, I guess I didn't mention that those were really hard, but I think it might have had something to do with the weight of them. And then I thought, when I tried these new ones, I thought, oh, this is very natural. I feel like I'm just automatically good at this. And yeah, out of nowhere, I picked it up, continued on with that. And not many huge things happened over the summer. It just felt like kind of a flowy summer. But also, in early August, I also did make, I was using AI or Copilot, an AI app, which maybe this was a mistake, to write some stories about flow arts. And then I did this one. It was about a hoop that really wanted to get chosen off the shelf and nobody wanted her. And then she was convinced to get LED lights put on her. I know, if this makes no sense to you, I'm sorry, but yeah, it was just a creative idea I had. And if you don't understand it, feel free to make fun of it. It's okay. And then she ends up getting accidentally abused by her owner. And then eventually she recovers from that. But man, it is just a heartbreaking and heartwarming story. Maybe I'll share that later on this channel at some point. Because I think if you're really into flow arts, then you might love it actually. Not much happened then. I was just really wanting to get back into flow arts and eventually get my LED club started, which that was towards the end of August. I invited a friend, which it worked out great, and then we did it a few more times, and then we started doing it at the place where the Juggle Club was happening, which it's been really successful since then. Yeah, we've been meeting like every Friday for a couple hours doing LED stuff. Sometimes we even play some basketball. It's been successful. And then I also want to make a purchase of things that I felt were valuable to me. One of the products being, well, these new LED glasses, which they're kind of futuristic. And I thought, these would really add to my performances. I thought, oh, sorry if these aren't that great. Like some of the batteries might be low or might need replacement or something. But yeah, I got a package of these, and also it took a while to wait. I don't know why. Something happened with Amazon. Something's up with them. It feels like orders are taking longer than they're supposed to these days. Either way, eventually they came here. Another package that I was expecting. It was about $160. This time it was a better set of LED juggling clubs, which these ones are actually pretty good. They're not the greatest. They're not like Lighttoys. I mean, they're similar, and I'm still thinking it's a low-key dream for me to get those at some point because they look really cool, and they're the world's favorite juggling clubs for good reason. You'll see what I mean if you've tried them before or have seen them. At this point, I was also really good at juggling, which it's become another specialty of mine. I think if my friends aren't good at it, either I could be really good at teaching them, or I'll be the backup for juggling if we need a juggler in a performance that we're doing. Let's say none of my other friends are really good at it. I didn't really get to try them until much later, like at 1 in the morning when I've come back from the Washington State Fair, which I made a video on that on Commander Earth. Check that out if you haven't already, because when we were there, we also saw an acrobat doing this performance. It was at the Coca-Cola stage, which he had an assistant help him with this act. It looked like a circus show. I think we caught the end of it. Like, I don't think we caught much of the show, but we did catch what he called the grand finale. And he was doing this act where he got up on, it was a 6-foot unicycle, I think. I'm just saying I think because it was probably 6 feet. And then he's like, shall I juggle? And then the audience liked that idea. And then his assistant helped him. He passed, well, knives to him. That's right. He juggled knives, which that was crazy. Kind of alarming, but hey, it achieved a really cool visual effect. Kind of like chopping. It was pretty cool. I watched that with my friends and I keep telling them, we could be like that guy. We could be on the Coca-Cola stage in a decade from now with our LED lights. That would be sick. But yeah, when we got back from the fair, it was like 1 a.m. and I thought, I really need to see these new clubs just to see how cool the lights are. And they're pretty good. Honestly, I've run into some issues with them, but I've managed to fix them each time. Yeah, they're kind of lowering, they're kind of wearing down, but I bet I could make them last. And I probably have plenty of money to spend on future LED props like I just mentioned, the Lighttoys clubs, or Vision clubs, I think is also they're referred to as. And then about a week later, I went to this event here. It was like a rave, and I don't know if I should mention the name of it on here. I don't know if it's safe, but I went to it with, there was also my idol there, my favorite performer, my hula hoop teacher, and she did another fire performance, which that was cool. There was also an aerialist who did it with silk, and then there was also another dancer who tied her hair to the clip and then danced in the air. It looked painful, honestly. But yeah, it was a pretty fun event. My hula hoop teacher also did another performance later in the evening with regular hoops, not lit on fire this time. It was also in the midst of a variety show where there were dancers and stuff like that. There was also this other room where they had like the real party at. There was some fancy lights in there. They had lasers and smoke, and there were DJs that would come in, and then it was sick. I was even sharing my LED props with other people there. Like the hula hoops were a hit, and the fans and stuff. And then there was this lady who showed me her hoop, which it was an astral hoop. Which I don't know. If you're a flow artist who likes LED lights, then you have likely heard of astral hoops. And when she turned it on, I was like, what? That's not okay. I just got one-upped. The one-upper got one-upped. This hoop had an insane amount of detail. Much more than the Future Hoop Designer. Their products are just too dang expensive. Then what I would eventually learn about is Pyroterra Lighttoys. I learned about that in November, and I thought, ooh, this actually looks really cool visually. It might be a little bit less detailed than Astral Hoops, but this actually feels okay to me. It's a bit less expensive, and I feel more like I want to spend money on this. And I also learned a bit about that, making sure that they're high quality. Learned that some famous flow artists actually use those products. And then I also made sure that you can treat them like the Future Hoop Designer, adding your own imagery to it, which yes, and you can do all that stuff with it. And then on September 29th, 2025, I created the channel Commander Flow Arts here, and that's where I've been posting all this cool content. And then since October, I've been doing this thing called Free Friend Flow Saturday, which, as the name implies, is flowing freely with friends on Saturday nights. We've been going downtown, doing street performances, trying to get money. We're busking. It's fun. It's also become a bit overwhelming, but I still like to do it. And sometimes friends show up, sometimes they don't. Sometimes we make money, sometimes we don't. And we've been doing that ever since. That's like the Saturday version of LED Club, which yes, we do also sometimes call it that. And I know I haven't made videos on that every time, but I will try my best to do that in the future. It took a while, but I eventually purchased Pyroterra Lighttoys visual hoops about a couple weeks ago, and they arrived on February 2nd, and then on the 3rd, I posted a video where I'm unboxing them, which go check that out. Please check it out, by the way. I know, this is actually kind of far into the future. I'm jumping ahead. There's a few other things I need to cover that have happened since then. I'm recording this later and forgot to mention that I also, for my birthday, did get these LED roller skates, which have been another big step in the flow art journey, because went roller skating with them, have gone to skate nights multiple times, might do that every month in fact. Third Saturday for Free Friend Flow Saturday. These are also LED, they light up when you roll on them. Pretty cool. And I know I haven't made that many, but hopefully I will make some more shorts soon where I'm doing flow arts or something circus related on roller skates, which I think would be sick. There was also a school event that we had in December, right before winter break. It was a Renaissance fair, which we had food and stuff to sell there, and my teacher made a flyer and asked me to contact him on the flyer if we want to be part of the entertainment. And there were some kids there who were going to bring their instruments and play music. And at the time, I wasn't thinking about it. I was originally thinking, I'm also really good at mixing beats. Like I could be like a DJ, like mixing samples. Although that's not very Renaissance themed, and it had to be less futuristic. And then what I did was, well, as I was sharing that idea with my teacher, after him having mentioned, suggesting to me, do you want to do your hooping performance? And then when I heard that, I was like, now that you mention it, yeah, but this was what I was originally thinking. But yeah, that idea didn't fly. Then I went to do a hooping performance at school, this time with the 4 hoops that I owned at the time, those mood hoops that I had, the first 2 and the pixel hoop and Future Hoop Designer. I did a performance with all 4 of those. I made about a 15-minute long playlist, which you'll also catch in the video, which I also made a video on that performance on this channel. Go check that out. My school hooping performance. Holy slay mode. But yeah, I thought this was a really great opportunity to do more of my talent, show off more of my skills here. And I'm just glad that the school has been able to have me perform at all these events, just because I think these are great opportunities to show my potential. And I thought, yeah, we need to do more of this. In that case, we even have this new event planned for March 19th, which, yes, I'll just get to that now. I will be doing another performance on this channel. I will upload it probably on March 20th. I'm not sure. I don't think it'll go up the exact day that it happened, but it'll go up shortly after. And I'll be doing it with these new Pyroterra Lighttoys visual hoops, which I just got, and I did the unboxing video, which go check that out if you haven't. You know how it has some really high density in LEDs, and just check this out. Yeah, see how much detail that is? These are 32 inches in diameter with 255 pixels. And these are sick. I think this is more worth it than Astral hoops. And let this be a lesson to flow artists out there who really want to achieve an amazing visual effect with their hula hoops and want to save money. This should be a lesson to this. I'm teaching those flow artists how to save money from those pieces of shit over at Astral hoops because they just want to charge about $600 for their most advanced option, which no thank you. These are better. Doesn't matter how cool they are visually, I just think that they're better. And I also learned how to use LT Composer, which it's the program you use to program these, make shows, design them, and I thought that's pretty cool. And then I already have them synced up to the song that I'll be doing in the performance that I just mentioned at school in about a month. Yeah, and all I gotta do now is just practice my routine. And some of you might have noticed that I also have a playlist called Guess the Image Challenges, which those are for designer props where I put an image on, let's say hoop or something. You guys have to guess what image I put on it. Like, I know it might be a bit complicated, especially if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, but I did do this one where I put hearts and lungs on it. Well, in this case, it was the Future Hoop Designer, and then I spin it around for a few seconds, and then you guys have to guess what I put on it. Well, that's how my first year of flow arts has been going. I hope this channel continues to grow, and I hope that we can do more amazing performances. But let's focus on my hopes for right now. Like I said, I'd be doing a talent show performance in about a month, and I think not only that, but I would try my best, and I can't guarantee this just yet. I will try to get my friends who are with me in LED Club to join me and pick a prop of their own to do a routine to, and we can make a whole LED Club debut, which I think that would be pretty cool. And I'm not sure. I feel like some of them are interested, but they haven't said it yet. And then we'll find out. I can tell you, my friend Isla, who you'll also see on Commander Earth, her favorite prop is the poi, which no surprises here, right? And I think if she wants to do a performance with LED poi, I'll loan them to her. Just practice a routine, pick a song, then sign up for the talent show. When we get there, I'll tell you a bit more about what's going to happen and how the night will go in terms of who's performing, who's doing what, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for now. And I think we're also supposed to have a barbecue party like in the spring or something for school. I don't remember, but if we do, then I'm hoping maybe I'll make a surprise appearance there and do another flow show. I'll call it right now a flow show. Maybe I'll do the same thing here that I'm trying to do at the talent show by getting my friends to join me doing their own thing flow related. But yeah, you're gonna notice some consistency over time with all the things that I do that are flow arts related. Well, that's what the last year of flow arts has looked like for me, and hopefully it continues to look a similar way in the future. Who knows? Maybe Astral hoops are actually good and I should get some. Who knows? They're really expensive and they're really high quality, but who knows? Maybe I'm gonna regret calling them pieces of shit later if I actually give them a try. That said, if you enjoyed this video, I'm not expecting you to enjoy it as much as my other videos. Either way, if you enjoyed it, then it would be nice if you could like and subscribe. Just ring the notification bell for more future content, and I'll see you next time in the form of a short, Free Friend Flow Saturday, Guess the Image, whatever, or even another performance, a live performance. I'll see you there. Don't miss it or you will be in trouble. Either way, who's ready to go super hyper ultra omni slimer?